Hello everyone, welcome back to the video. In this video, we're gonna see about today's budget and what are the budgets they are allocated to the which sector, how much they are allocated, and how it gonna affect the economy and how it gonna help us to grow better on this. So in this video, I gonna break down all of these things. So stay with me till end, so you will get an idea how what is the budget happen today and how it will affect on the stocks or the markets, and we will plan for according to that. So first of all, the overall budget is total amount is 53.47 lakh crore, and which is including revenue expenditure and the capital expenditure. What it means? So if you understand this, you can understand the whole budget simply. So it is the revenue expenditure means which is the expenditure like day-to-day expenditure in the terms of simple way. So day-to-day expenditure means which is giving the salaries, pensions, maintenance, and those related to the expenditure. What is the capital expenditure? The capital expenditure is the most important thing. The capital expenditure means the big projects expenditures like infrastructure products, defense purchasing. Like last year we purchased some big Rafales and the trains. Those types of things is according to the capital expenditure, which is used for the big projects. This is the basic overview. And the first and foremost, the biggest allocation was in the infrastructures and roadways, railways, those types of things. The overall allocations was 12.2 lakh crore, which is huge, and it is 9% from the last year, which is increased from the last year 9%. And in this overall infrastructure and those type of things, more than which is the important part was the 7 high-speed railway corridors, which is they are gonna place in metropolitan city like Bangalore and Mumbai, Delhi. They are planning to include there, and more than 3.1 lakh crore was infused or allocated to the roadways and the railways, which is huge. And the next sector was the defense sector. In this defense sector, they allocated more than 7.8 lakh crore, and in this 7.8 lakh crore, more than 2.5 lakh crore was allocated to the modernizations of the equipments, research, those types of things. In this 2.5 lakh crore, they will like they will find out R&D, and they will do works on the good products like building the new radars, buying the flights, those types of things. And the pending 5 lakh crore was it is allocated to the pensions, salaries, and the maintenance, those types of things. It was the more overall 7.8 lakh crores. And the next sector we're gonna see was education, skill, and development. And in this, it is the most important sector for the country like India. We are the youth populations. We have the huge youth population. So if we allocate good funds on the education, upskilling, damn sure we will increase our economic development, and it will increase the growth of the country. So in this education and the skill development schemes, they infuse more than 1.5 lakh crore. They allocated 1 lakh crores, and in this 1 lakh crore, more than 15,000 secondary schools, they are planning for the upskilling programs and digitalizations in the educations and the training process, and it includes 500 plus colleges, and which will help to the college students, school students, and the guys who was in the training. It will help them to upskill there with the funds of the government, and it was one of the good scheme and the good allocations to the structure. To the sector. Next sector we're gonna see was the health tourism and the biopharma. In this, they allocated more than 1 lakh crore in the health sector, which the fund was utilized for the infrastructure development of the hospitality and buying the cutting edge technology machines and the scannings, those facilities, which will increase the hospitality facility in India, hospital facilities in India. It will both help us to attract the tourism, medical tourism, and which is will help the common people who is in India. And they allocated 10,000 crores to biopharma, and which is also a good scheme. And they exempted tax on the cancer drugs, and which is also good. This was the health and medical tourism sector. The next sector we're gonna see in this video was manufacturing technology and strategic development. In this, they are planning to they allocated more than 40,000 crores into semiconductor development, which is the leading sector in the world. Everyone was focusing on AI, chip development, machine learning, which is the very important thing. And semiconductor used for many things like chips and robotics and cars, the battery cars, everything they are using. So semiconductor was a good strategic move, and they are planning for they are allocated 40,000 crores in the electronic components manufacturing plants, and which is also good. And other than this, they allocated 40,000 crores for the container manufacturing for the next 5 years. And they allocated 10,000 crores, and which is 7% increase from the last year. And they are planning to develop chemical plants and chemical manufacturing units like chemical processing companies throughout the India in every possible state, which decrease the dependent on the China. In last few years, we are depending on China for the raw earth metals and the chemicals, which we are depending on the China. If we do this chemical companies in all over the India, which will decrease the dependent on the China, which was the strategic move and the very good move. And the next sector we're gonna see in this video was MSME sectors and the startup sectors, and which was the most important sector in India, because India is having the huge youth populations and the huge labor forces and the huge populations. And if we focus on the MSME startups, like the most of the youngsters is going into the startups, and the guys who is into the MSME, which it is a labor intense sector, and they will hire the more people if they are getting incentives, if they are getting good funds from the government, and if they are getting the good loans, and which will increase the people who is in the MSME, like employment rate will increase. And they allocated 10,000 crores for the MSME and the startups. It was the good move for them. And if they increase more than, like, rather than spending on the infrastructure, if they spend MSME and for the startups, it will increase the growth and the development, and it will decrease the unemployment rate. Personally, I feel this, if they allocate more like 10,000 crores to 50,000 crores, which is the good move. But still now it's the good allocation for the MSME. And the next sector we're gonna see in this video was the agriculture sector. They allocated 1.6 lakh crore, which is good, and they are planning to promote the agri-based products and agri-based industries to exports, and the coconut exports, which is very good. And India is having a huge farming lands, the huge agricultural products. So if the government is focusing on giving the funds which is allocated, if the people who is from the industry of the agriculture who is doing the farming, if they get the proper funds from the government, and I'm sure the sector will develop in few years, and it was on a good move too. And the next sector we're gonna see was the taxations and the regulations, and which is the most debated topic in the last many years, like GSTs, taxations, the slabs which is changing. But in this budget, there was nothing big move. There was a small move, like they increased the STTT, small securities transferable taxes, those types of things of 0.5%, and which increased the like speculations on the people who is doing trading, intraday derivatives, those types of things, and which disappointed them also. We already saw the market, their profit booking going out, and it's very common in the market. It's volatile. Again, it will move to the same places normally. And the second was MAT, the alternate taxations, which they are decreasing from 15% to 14%. They are planning to, if we decrease these types of taxations, the investments opportunity will automatically come inside the India, and the people who are doing business in India will stay here. And this, if they decrease more taxes on the many things, for sure the foreign institutional investors and those types of things will come inside. And following this, there was a tax holiday for the companies or the sector which is doing the data centering and the cloud hub in the India using the Indian resources and infrastructure. And there was no taxations up to 2047, and which is a good move, which will attract the foreign institutional investors, or sorry, foreign MNCs like Google, Microsoft, and the big MNCs who is doing the things like data handling, cloud computing, cloud servering, those types of things. Like already Google was planning into start the data centers in the Andhra Pradesh. So like that, it will increase in many states if there was the no taxation up to 2050, 2047. It was a great for the companies who is into the data and cloud. Of course, they will come and do and make the India as a data or cloud hub, which was the good. And this was the overall budget. And there, it is not a very good budget, and it is not a worst budget. It was an average budget as of me. And this was the overall budget. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you.